I've heard horror stories. I cannot tell you all the stories that I've heard here. Hey guys, I hope you're doing good. Welcome to this new video on how to save money. So last week I talked to you about how to negotiate your rent, and I told you my story, how I managed to negotiate my rent and how that allows me now to save an extra 1,200 euros a year. So today I want to tell you, we're still in that apartment topic, but I want to tell you about ways that you can choose an apartment that are going to allow you to save money. So let's get into it. So the first thing you want to look out for when renting an apartment, when you're trying to save money, is the location. You want to pick a location that is safe. When your location is not safe, you might, you know, at some point experience damage, whether that's damage to your car or break-ins or getting things stolen, and you want to avoid those because ultimately those things are going to cost you money, whether it is, you know, to fix your car or to buy again what's been stolen, or to take out insurance or additional insurance. So you want to avoid those costs, and a good way to do this is to pick a safe neighborhood. The second thing you want to look out for when renting an apartment and when you're trying to save money is the energy rating of your apartment. Here they have something called the BER rating, which is pretty much a scale from A to F, I think, A, B, C, D being the best ones, and then everything after D being not very good. What that means is usually that when your rating is good, you're going to spend less money on energy bills, because that means your place is really well insulated, so you won't have to heat the place as much, or when you heat it, the heat is actually staying in your place. And then when it's, you know, a bad rating, then it means the opposite. So obviously you want to pick a place where it's not going to cost you a lot of money to heat it up, and you don't want to have really expensive bills when it comes to that. So picking a place with a good energy rating is always a better choice. Now, another thing that you want to look out for when renting an apartment and wanting to save money is how the place that you're renting is exposed to the sun. Usually the best exposure is south or southwest, and that's because when you're exposed, when you're facing the south and southwest, you get the most light and the most sun into your apartment. That means two things. The first one is that you're going to get more light, meaning you're not going to have to turn on your own lights as often, and so you're going to save money on electricity. The second thing is that when the sun shines into your apartment, it's going to warm up your apartment, meaning you're not going to have to spend as much money on the heat, meaning you're going to save money on your bills. I would, however, recommend searching what the best exposure is for your area or your country, because it depends on the country, whether you're in the North Hemisphere or the South Hemisphere. So look out for that. Now, since we've moved to Ireland and to this apartment specifically, I've noticed that we haven't actually been spending that much on energy bills, and I think that's due to two things. The first one is that we're actually on the second floor, meaning that there's an apartment below us, and I think that when they heat up their apartment, because the heat goes up, then it's actually beneficial to us. So I would suggest that if you can, you avoid renting an apartment on the first floor and you actually rent above someone else. That way you can benefit from, you know, their heat as well. And then the second thing that I've noticed is that we actually live in between two other apartments, and talking with our neighbors, I've noticed that they actually turn on the heat a lot earlier than we do and leave it on a lot later than we do in the year. And I think that's because we are stuck in between two other apartments where there's people living in them, and so we also benefit from the heat from those apartments. And actually I've noticed that when people started moving out last year, we didn't have anyone, we actually still don't have anyone on one side, and the neighbors on the other side, they kind of come and go, and when they're gone, and since the other ones are also gone and have been gone for a while, I've noticed that we've had to actually turn on the heat a lot more often. So if you can, try to pick an apartment that's stuck between two other apartments. It's not always ideal because obviously, you know, we get less windows and our apartment is slightly smaller than theirs, but at least we don't have to turn on the heat as much as other people. So that's good and that saves us money. This next point is actually something that we definitely looked out for when we were looking for an apartment here in Dublin, and that was to find an apartment close to our jobs. In Ireland, transportation is actually quite expensive and we didn't want to add that expense to all of our other expenses. So we decided that it was better for us to live close to our jobs, and that actually saves us money because we don't have to spend any money on transportation. The other benefit of living close to your work is that you spend a lot less time commuting and on transportation and driving and in traffic, and that definitely saves us a lot of time, which in my case allows me to have a side hustle and make money on YouTube and on my blog. So if you're looking, you know, at starting a side hustle and you're wanting to make money, it's nice to have the time to do so, and living close to your job definitely allows you to do that. Now, this next point is actually very, very important in my opinion and in my experience, and it's almost more important than all of the other points I've actually mentioned until now, and that is to choose an apartment, but also to choose a landlord. You're gonna have to deal with your landlord more than once, and it's very, very nice when your landlord is an honest, nice, kind person, which here in Dublin isn't always the case. We visited so many apartments where we were like, the apartment could do, but the landlord is just a little bit, there's something off and something is just not resonating with us, not working for us, and we just could feel that, you know, they didn't really care whoever was living there. And I've heard horror stories. I cannot tell you all the stories that I've heard here about really shitty landlords, and people, you know, really suffer from it financially because you're gonna have those landlords who are super not honest, and they're gonna make you pay for things that should be their responsibility to pay for. They're gonna pretend that some of the, you know, wear and tear wasn't there, before you moved in, and so that it's on you to pay to fix it. They're gonna keep your deposit, whereas it's like normal wear and tear, and so many other things that I couldn't even, you know, tell you in one video. So when your landlord is shitty, you know, that could affect you financially. You could never see your deposit again. When we actually had issues with our oven, we just, you know, texted our landlord, and she was so nice about it, and she definitely, you know, did everything she could to fix it. And then when it didn't work, she, you know, just replaced it, and it was a simple process. It wasn't messy, it wasn't chaotic, we didn't have to negotiate, nothing like bad happened. She's just very honest and fair, and you know, if you can find yourself a landlord like this, I would definitely do that, because it can really affect you financially and it's not fun at all. Now, this next one is not always, you know, possible everywhere. I know it's not really a thing in France, but if you can, try to pick an apartment that's already furnished. The reason for this is that when it's already furnished, well, you don't have to buy furniture. For example, when we moved into this apartment, it already had, you know, the full-on kitchen, a table, a couch, chairs, we had the bed, the mattress, the nightstands, we had like a closet already. So we bought furniture, but we didn't really need it to move in and like settle. So it's just really nice, and obviously, you know, the result is that you're not going to have to buy as much furniture as maybe you thought you would need to. So it's really nice, and it's definitely going to reduce your expenses, which is going to allow to save money. And finally, another thing to look out for when you're renting an apartment and you're wanting to save money is how loud or quiet your building is. The quieter your building is, the better and the more money you're going to save. Let me explain. When you live in a very loud building or neighborhood for that matters, you just want to get out. You just want to get out and go somewhere where it's quieter. You don't want to stay home, and you want to go out. And when you go out, the more you go out, the more money you spend. So you want to avoid having to go out, having to go to cafes, having to go to shared working space. You want to avoid that. You want to be happy in your home where it's quiet and nice and calm and where you don't have to spend any money. So if you have the choice, always pick the place that is quiet, because otherwise you're gonna have to go out, you're gonna be tempted to, you know, leave your place a lot more often, and you're gonna be spending a lot more money. So guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not subscribed yet, so you can get more videos on how to save money. I always put the links to the blog in the description box below, where I write about money saving tips. So you can also check that out if you want more money saving tips. And yeah, you can always leave me a comment below to tell me if you liked the video, if you learned anything, if you know you already knew everything and it's worked out for you, or things that you would like to add as well, because I think it's really important to learn from other people's experiences. So don't hesitate to leave a comment and, you know, tell me kind of what you think. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next week for a new video. Bye! Thank you.